In part 10.2, we looked at the use of the coefficient of correlation as a performance metric. So let's now move on to the coefficient of determination, which is the last of the performance metrics that we're going to look at in this particular tutorial. So this is often termed as R-squared, and this is really simple to calculate if you've already calculated the coefficient of correlation, because all you do here is you square the result. Now, R-squared is often a preferred technique used by statisticians to look at the variation from a linear regression model. But the thing you have to remember with this is that because we're squaring the value of the correlation coefficient, which of course ranges from -1 up to +1, we now have a range that goes from 0 to +1. And those negative results, so the ones that provided a negative correlation, will also have positive results now, so you need to be careful with this. So it's important that you also use the correlation coefficient to know which way the curve is going. So although this tends to be a preferred metric for many people, the actual end result will be no different than using the correlation coefficient. So whatever your largest value was there, indicating the best value, this will give you exactly the same result. But I considered it was worth mentioning this just so that you're aware of it if you ever hear about this particular metric. So just summarising now, we've looked at a number of performance metrics, and we've also looked at this important relationship with the position sizing methodology for each of those metrics, and this table just summarises that relationship. So as you can see, from a profit factor point of view, you need to be using a fixed position size, as you do for the coefficient of correlation and determination. Whereas with the two drawdown-based metrics, you really need to be using a variable position size there that scales in relation to equity at the time. And by following those simple rules, you'll be undertaking a much more robust selection using those performance metrics. So while I've been putting this episode together, it's given me a couple of ideas for future episodes. The first of those is a study of these performance metrics that we've been looking at today in a real optimization context. So we can undertake the optimization and then determine which parameters we would choose from that using the techniques we looked at last week with the optimization profiles, using each of these metrics. So the profit factor, the drawdown based ones, and the correlation coefficient and so on. And we can then see how the walk forwards perform for each of those. And so although it will only look at one particular optimization, it will give us an idea of which of these metrics perform well and which don't perform so well. And then also in relation to my other series on advanced MQL coding techniques, I thought I'd look at the CAGR over average drawdown and show you how to implement that in your own experts, and also look at R or R-squared in terms of implementing those as performance metrics. So that brings us to a close on this particular episode. I hope you've enjoyed that and got something from it. If you have, then please give me a thumbs up, and also remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And so now, until next week, trade safe.